All right, it is 6 o'clock. I will call the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. We will begin with the roll. Alder Close. Here. Alder Decker.
Here.
Alder Lefebvre. Do we have anybody else online outside of Nick? Okay. Alder Lefebvre is unexcused. Alder Perella is excused. We do have a quorum. Will you please join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, seeing mostly familiar faces in the room and barring objection of committee, we will jump over item number 4 for the introductions, and seeing no objection, move on to item 5, the approval of the minutes from the May 12th meeting. Any discussion on those minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Seeing no discussion on the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Those minutes are approved. Next up is item number 6, which is resolution number 11 of 2526, a resolution authorizing retaining outside legal counsel to represent the city as interim city attorney, pending permanent position fulfillment.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item, obviously we have a vacancy in the city attorney's position, and in the vacancy I have the authority to make an appointment to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the term. And after consulting our team and our staff, we are recommending Nick Serwin and the attorney from Von Briesen and Roper to serve as an interim city attorney for us. So in this scenario, we're using the firm. Nick will not be the full-time attorney on an on-call basis. The team in the attorney's office has really stepped up and provided a lot of great work. So he'll be on an on-call kind of needed basis if we need to provide more support as well. So that's the recommendation here, and the appointment will go to council, hopefully, if you guys approve it. So, and Nick specializes in municipal law and everything, and he's online too right now. So if there's specific legal questions you have, he can help answer some.
Saving him for later, although, Nick, if you'd like to chime in at all, by all means. Otherwise, I'll ask committee if there's any questions. Alder Close.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over, it said that you reviewed with other staff from the city about how you decided on Von Briesen. Can you go through the process of how you landed on Von Briesen as the attorney and the office that you wanted to go with for the interim city attorney's position?
Yeah, so Von Briesen is basically the gold standard for municipal law across Wisconsin. So many other municipalities utilize them for municipal services. So this was a big project. Primarily the city administrator helped review as well, and talking with the staff in the attorney's office as well to get their feedback. So we have a good relationship with them. We've used them several times before, and they're just a good recommended firm to use for municipal law.
And as a follow-up, so what is the target date for filling that permanent position for the city attorney? Do we have one?
I don't think we have a specific date in the document, but as soon as possible. Okay.
Just a little more context on that question, given some of the other items that are on the agenda, depending on, what the recommendation that comes out of the committee and ultimately whether council chooses to take that recommendation or not. That would involve ordinance changes to that position, which I believe it's 60 days after passage by council before they actually go into effect. Mm-hmm. So we'd at least be looking at a couple months.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Any other discussion?
Actually, I think Michael asked the question I was going to ask. So.
I got one more question, actually.
Second meeting, and we're on the same page already. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to, you mentioned that they would be filling in responsibilities. They have a broad depth of legal knowledge. Is there any specific responsibilities that they'll be taking over as opposed to the internal city attorney's office? Or will they be taking on all legal? Is there going to be a division of labor of any kind that Von Briesen won't take versus what our internal deputy city attorney will take?
If I'm understanding your question, the answer is yes.
Okay. Okay.
If you'd like to.
Yeah. Say just like specific areas of law that you'll be covering here internally versus that Von Briesen would take over, things like that.
Sure. Liz Majerus, Deputy City Attorney. Our office currently handles all prosecutions, claims in-house. We also handle all ordinances, resolutions, contract review, et cetera. Areas of the law that we currently partner with outside attorneys include development agreements, redevelopment agreements, unique real estate matters, more generally speaking, some higher risk or higher internal conflict, if you will, personnel matters, or any matter where we don't have the time or the depth of knowledge to devote to a legal issue. So based upon conversations with administration and with the mayor's office, I anticipate that we will work in collaboration with Attorney Serwin, depending on the needs of the office on any given day or week. We maintain an open dialogue otherwise, so that he's available as a sounding board for us, or if we need him to take on something more from the ground up, he can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Liz, while you're up there. This isn't really anything unfamiliar to what we've been done before in the past. Even when we had a full-time city attorney, we often jobbed a lot of these things out to Von Briesen or other entities in the past. Also, when it comes to just because of the volume of things that we have sometimes.
That's correct. I think one of the biggest distinctions in this context is that when push comes to shove, having somebody designated as the interim city attorney to satisfy their statutory obligations is really the impetus behind this. I feel very confident in our office's capabilities and in our ability to triage our workload and to work with our outside partners as needed to avoid any issues that can come about when we have a workload that exceeds our capabilities. So this is a little extension to our current and historical practice, but then it also covers our bases under the statutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this one?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved. I did forget to mention that the theme of this evening's meeting is attorneys. Next up is item 7, resolution number 122526, a resolution authorizing retaining outside legal counsel to represent the city in the matter of Markel Nathaniel Mitchell versus Christopher Domagolsky and authorizing payment for said services.
Thank you. We are asking to approve retaining MWH Law Group to represent the city's interests in this matter. They have very deep experience in prisoner litigation, prisoner rights type matters, which is what this is.
Questions or comments? If not, we'd be looking for that motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved. Continuing our theme, we are on item number 8, which is resolution number 13 of 2526, a resolution authorizing retaining outside legal counsel to represent the city in the matter of Catherine Cobbs, the City of Sheboygan, case number 2025 CV0294, and authorizing payment for said services.
Thank you. The city staff is asking to retain William Fisher, an attorney with Von Briesen and Roper, to handle this matter that originates in a personnel dispute. The matter is being heard in the Sheboygan County Circuit Court.
Questions or comments on this one?
Not really.
If not, we'd be looking for that motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have motion and a second for approval. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved as well. Takes us to item 9, RC number 282 of 2425, which was referred RO number 121 of 2425 by the city clerk submitting a claim from State Farm for alleged damages to a vehicle owned by one of their insured drivers. Comes with a recommendation to file.
Yes, we are recommending filing this document.
Was the claim approved or denied?
I'm sorry that I don't have that information. I I looked at the claim form that came through. It was a notice of claim document. I believe that it was, or that it will be approved if it has not already, based upon my memory of the facts, but I don't know exactly where the matter ended up.
We could follow up on that one next meeting, just
I would be happy to.
for the committee's information. That would be great. Appreciate it. Dr. Becker, was that your question?
That was my question.
Okay.
I will also offer on this comment, it's an appropriate time to say that the city attorney's office has developed a new document that will be submitted to committees going forward for claims, which will provide you all of the information that you're looking for and none of the information that we don't necessarily want to include in a public agenda document. So we look forward to that transition.
That sounds both like a good idea, and we will
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Director Krieger just told me that this was recommended to be paid.
Okay. And
Thank
of
you.
course, the committee's position or role in this is only to receive the information and file either way, so.
Motion to file.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for filing, then seeing no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. That one is filed. Thank you. Takes us to item 10, which is a direct referral of RO number 13 of 2526 by Director of Human Resources and Labor Relations, submitting an exit interview report for Q1 of 2025 for the City of Sheboygan.
Good evening. So this is the first quarter for 2025. We did a few comparisons throughout the report with 2024 as well. Overall, you can see that there were 8 retirements, 7 resignations, and 2 involuntary terminations for a total of 16. We put this together for the turnover rate, which has been added this year, and that gave us a 3% based on the 397 full-time positions that we have in the city. The next section talks about just the overall questions that are asked, and you can see the ratings that were provided from the employees that were exiting. Better lifestyle, better balance, career advancement, so they're kind of still all over the board. We don't have one area that's just specific to why people are leaving, which is good. It's a number of reasons. So it talks about that throughout, gives you a few quotes throughout that as well. Overall, what we're seeing is that people are pretty happy here, not leaving for anything that's very negative, which is good. Most responses come back as neutral or strongly agree. In HR, we've made a few changes just to address some of the cultural things that we do to try to make people happy. We're doing the Monday Fun Days. We've moved that to more of a department-specific activity where once a month we try to target, like if it's National Police Day, that the police department will receive a small gesture of snacks or something like that. And we do that personal delivery, and they seem to really like that. It's pretty much a surprise for most of them. Then we've also added a lot of training for the different departments. We've enhanced our new hire orientation, and we have a quarterly luncheon with Casey and I and all the new hires for that quarter, where they actually get to sit and they can ask questions about the city, of us, or anything like that that we haven't, or they're curious about. So, any questions on the report? The turnover rates are on the back page. So again, this quarter was 3%. Overall for 2024, when you add all of the quarters up, it was 11.72%, which is still relatively low in the national average.
Okay, never mind. I was just going to ask. That was the question I was going to ask.
Wisconsin, does that 3.02%?
We're very low.
Very similar? Okay.
Very low. It usually is around 5.
Okay.
Quarterly?
Yes.
Okay. Apparently we all have that question. Yes, just general commentary from my end. Again, really appreciate the depth of this report. I think that this serves as a great tool both to, now that we've been doing it for a while, start to see the progress on these answers to these questions. It definitely did look like most of the numbers were starting to trend further toward agree, strongly agree, or at least neutral.
Yes.
So everything that's been done in response to getting this feedback, I want to commend everybody who's been involved, your team and other departments as well. It's great to see, and I'd say the numbers for the questions give a really quick snapshot that gives us context, but also having the actual feedback that people leave is valuable to hear, specifically from an individual what their exact thoughts are. Those are items that we get to take into consideration only if it's communicated to us. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on that item?
Is there anything we have to do with that, or?
I believe we would refer that to council with a recommendation to file.
Okay. Refer with a recommendation to file.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second for filing. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is filed. Next up is item 11, a direct referral of resolution number 16 of 2526, amending the Common Council Handbook to allow for standing committees to meet on the second and fourth Mondays of each month without any restriction on time or order.
Thank you. Yes, this is a very simple amendment to the Council Rules Handbook to allow the committees to schedule their meetings either tighter or looser depending on the agendas that they have. Our hope is that committee order will remain fairly consistent for staff. That's very convenient for them to be able to plan. But this would allow, for example, today our Public Works meeting ended well before the half-hour mark, and we could have then just convened this meeting immediately after that. So our hope is that this will further streamline our use of time and shouldn't cause any major inconveniences.
Questions or comments on this one? Alder Decker.
I guess I should make some comments because I was the one that requested this. I think this just gives us a little more flexibility, gives us a little more, so that we, when we have, the issues, and if there is like a lawn licensing, say that there's a hearing or something like that for lawn licensing, that maybe could be shifted to the last meeting, because as I've been on lawn licensing and I've been on some of those, and some of those can be rather time consuming, and if that's the first meeting of the night, it could make for a very long evening for some other people that maybe wouldn't have to be such a long evening for. So I think that this just gives us that little bit of flexibility we can work things through, and that I think it still gives the public a better option to look and see, what's, with all of the things. So the public member of the community wants to come and see things, they can come and do it, and they can do it in one file swoop instead of having to go to 3 different meetings and everything like that. It's all this way where it's all taped, and it allows for people to be able to view it, and I think this is a great little addition.
Thank you. Keep my comments very brief on this to make it narrowly tailored to the loosening of the current rules where the committees are ordered and the times are set. Not a fan of the committees, necessarily of the idea of the committees being on the same day, but this particular change is going to make things a bit more flexible, which at least addresses some of the concerns I originally had, so I'm all in favor. If there is no further discussion, we would be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion stands. Passes. That one is approved.
Okay.
Next up is item 12, which is a direct referral of Charter Ordinance number 1 of 2526, amending the Charter Ordinance of the City of Sheboygan related to the manner and selection and tenure of the city attorney. I believe we have Nick on the line to speak to this one.
Yep, I think sorry, the camera went on and off there. So, hello everybody. Thanks for having me on today. One of the other benefits to having outside counsel for these matters is that going through this process, potential transition, having your in-house counsel dictate or be involved in it provides a shelter or shield for the city as well. So this has kind of been what I've been working on first to help you guys clear this hurdle. I had been in-house for 9 years or so and went through this transition myself when I was in-house at a different municipality. And so I did prepare both a charter ordinance, a new job description, and then some regulatory ordinance updates. My expectation or my proposal to you would be that the charter ordinance be approved through council, and the other job description and regulatory amendments be updated once the charter ordinance passes through. I can give you some context as well for these changes if you'd like, in terms of kind of the trends in Wisconsin in general, but I will defer to you on what would be most impactful or helpful for your decisions.
I think the trends would be...
Seeing consensus from committee that, the quick overview of the trends and, some of the high-level reasoning of why would definitely be helpful.
Yep.
We'd appreciate that.
Yeah. Let me just pull that up real quick. As of 2013, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities had identified that there was about 19 cities still in the city, or in the state of Wisconsin, that were elected positions, Sheboygan being one of them. As of the date I wrote this, May 21st, only 8 in Wisconsin remain at elected positions, including, again, Sheboygan at this point. And so there certainly has been a trend in the last 12 years where municipalities are looking to appoint city attorneys. What some benefits may be, there's the expense of the public voting an individual in, but a benefit, or at least could be seen as to the benefit of the municipality, because you're going to have this person be selected as a qualified individual with a very specialized, important area of the law. As Liz had already identified, your in-house counsel right now handles a wide variety of issues, and that's what municipal law is in general. And so I know when I lived through this transition myself, part of our concern was who would apply, and if it's a person that lives in the municipality, and it has to be obviously as an elected official, much oversight or assurances that they have the experience necessary to run that. It's a highly technical office. It's one that requires a lot of insight and know-how. And I think a lot of municipalities are trending away from the elected position so they can help promote that experience level and diminish the potential turnover and new administration each time.
Thank you for that overview. That definitely helps provide some context. I'll turn it over to committee then and ask if we have any comments or questions.
Yes, I'm in favor of this. I think this is the right way to go. I think through our experience, I think it's been the best. I think this would be the best way to handle this. I think that the fact that there are only 8, and we're included in that 8 other elected city attorneys in the state now. That this is, most of I know Fond du Lac, Manitowoc. I looked it up. Some of them, Green Bay. All are appointed. So we're not like bucking the trend by doing this. I think that we're following what most of the other ones are. I know the county for their legal counsel, has been appointed. I think for I don't know how many years. The fact that the last time that there was a contested election for city attorney was in sometime in the mid 60s is what I would believe is right. So you're talking 60 years that we've had since we've had a contested city attorney election. So it's not like there's a lot of people that are going for these positions, and this way we assure that we can hire who we want, and we can I think being that it's going to be a majority of the council, it's got to be a super majority. It's going to have to be a 3/4 vote. It's not just going to be a simple majority to get this. I think that this is a responsible way to do this.
Thank you. I guess just adding on to that a little bit from my perspective, this has been something that I've thought about for years. This particular position never made a ton of sense for me to be electing in the first place because it is a more professional, functional position. When a position is elected, it comes with the inherent need to be sensitive to the perspective of the public on anything that you do or anything you say. That's how it is supposed to work. That's why we elect council, so that council is held to account to represent the people that we are in our district. For the city attorney, I think the city would do best with completely unvarnished, objective legal counsel, and coloring it through the lens of politics just has never made sense to me. So I absolutely am in favor of this as well.
I agree with the sentiments that you provided. Yeah, I believe that keeping this an unelected position is a professional position that's appointed, and especially appointed by the majority of the Common Council, keeps it in line with making sure it's impartial and sticks to the operations of the city as much as possible.
Just add one last thing, and I'm sorry to speak out of turn, but despite it being or the transition to non-elected, obviously at the discretion of the Common Council as the alderperson had identified, and as such, in Common Council could result in a change in the body's perspective, and so by and large they're still accountable to the public. It's just there's shelter there, and sometimes city attorneys have to make difficult decisions that are in the interest of the public but not swayed by public sentiment. It's not always the most popular position, just in the stances and the legal requirements and arguments you have to make. My only other point was of the 10 other municipalities most similarly sized in terms of population, only one other municipality in those 10 is elected, and that's the city of Waukesha currently. Everybody else is appointed, including Eau Claire, Oshkosh, Janesville, West Allis, La Crosse, Wauwatosa, Fond du Lac, Brookfield, and New Berlin.
Thank you. Okay, I'm hearing consensus, but do we have any other questions or comments? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved. Next up is item 13, which was a direct referral of General Ordinance Number 6 of 2526, amending, repealing, and recreating provisions related to the matter of selection and tenure of the city attorney. I think we touched on this a little bit already. Nick, do you want to run over again your recommendation for the order these things are passed in? So at the committee level, I'm assuming that there's no major concern with us sending it back to council with a recommendation, but once it gets to council?
Yes, so at council level, my recommendation would be that the charter ordinance gets approved first. There's a 60-day window where the public can petition for a vote on that matter, okay, for a referendum. And so if that occurs, then there's going to have to be a longer process. The shortest way through it then is going to be the 60 days if there's no petition for a referendum. So what would have to happen then is I would not recommend changing the ordinance in advance of this becoming a appointed position. And so the job description and the regulatory updates shouldn't happen until, or should be contingent on, that charter ordinance being approved and passing and getting through the referendum phase.
That makes sense. Thank
So
you.
then we should hold this.
So we're good to approve it through council, because at that point, they won't still be happening at the same time, or through committee rather, because at that point, we're just sending it back to council with a recommendation,
So that
but
he
we
can-
expect that this one will get held from the council agenda.
Okay.
The timing is more
That's fine.
appropriate.
Okay.
Any questions or comments on the ordinance?
I think it looks good. Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved. Thank you for joining us, Nick. Next up is item number 14, which is General Ordinance number 3 of 2526, an ordinance amending the Sheboygan Municipal Code to effectuate changes to the city's claims procedure.
Thank you. So this ordinance is codifying a past resolution that has been supporting longstanding practice to, I would say, more degrees than not. We had a resolution many years ago that established the city administrator's authority to settle claims, and then that was amended a few years back to include a provision authorizing the city administrator to negotiate and then settle claims up to the $50,000 threshold. The practice had been that the city administrator would work in committee format with a representative from the finance department, the legal department, and then the assistant to the administrator to review all claims, investigate them, and make a recommendation to the committee. On the backside, then also taking the final steps to approve or deny or negotiate. This is just codifying that. My personal belief is that ordinances are the appropriate vehicle to make changes that you want to last longer than one session. They are easily viewable by members of the public, and so I think they are a more transparent approach to governance. The substance of this process is not changing beyond what we currently have, other than that rather than each claim coming through committee on its own, we anticipate filing reports with the committee addressing each of the claims and the important notes about all of them, at least quarterly. It doesn't foreclose the opportunity for other claims to be brought forward if there's any reason why the staff feels that that would be appropriate or beneficial. And it also still requires committee approval for all claims that exceed $50,000.
It sounds redundant if I sum that up as more or less we are permanently going to continue doing mostly what we've been doing.
We will continue
Codifying that
doing
into
what
ordinance.
we've been doing until we decide to change the ordinance.
Sounds good. Any questions or comments on this one?
No, I think this is pretty
Other
straightforward.
close?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, how was the $50,000 threshold determined? How was that reached?
Well, the initial threshold was set before I joined the city, so I can't speak to the intent of those conversations. My understanding is that it relates to the purchasing policy threshold that the council had previously given to the city administrator.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved. Thank you. Takes us to item number 15, which was a direct referral of resolution number 19 of 2526, authorizing the appropriate city officials to sign the January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2028 contract between the City of Sheboygan and International Association of Firefighters, Local 483. Chief?
Thank you, Chair. So the local, this has been a long time coming, as you're aware. Their current contract expired in December of 2023. So they were able to ratify. Both parties did a lot of work to come to an agreement. Be glad to answer any questions. We do have one point for an amendment,
Which I have.
a correction on there.
So I have to do it, and then
Do
I
discussion first, and
do a discussion, then,
we'll
okay.
need the motion to be made to get it on the floor, and then we can amend.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any on the.
Any questions on the agreement?
Just comments. I'm glad that you're able to come to this agreement. I think this is a positive for the city. I really like the insurance aspect from that albatross that's been kind of hanging over the city's neck for quite a few years, and it's nice to be able to put that to bed.
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to thank the local, the union board for, again, it took a lot to work together, but I mean, they helped us out too. So it was mutually beneficial, this contract. It really was.
I'll just echo that thanks to all parties involved, Chief, as well as last contract expired in 2023. It's nice to see that this one extends out further than the regular 3-year term based on the fact that we're, about at the halfway point of when that next contract would have been in effect.
Yeah, I think both parties are relieved about that.
Have to find some other reason to spend time together. Any other discussion?
No.
All right, if not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion, Alder Decker.
Motion, I make motion to amend to change last sentence of Article 25, Section A1 to read, unused sick leave may be accumulated up to a maximum of 1,728 hours.
Second. All right, we have an amendment on the floor to change the number of hours listed in the contract being approved. Chief, do you want to speak to
A
that?
little bit of housekeeping is what it was, so.
Yeah, and I brought Assistant Chief Mike Lubert here with me to explain the whole sick leave, because it is kind of confusing for the sick time. So if you have any questions, he'll be glad to answer. Really? No questions for him? Come on.
I mean, I could ask a general,
I brought him all
why
this
are we
way.
changing the number question?
Yeah.
Also changing the number question.
Yeah, you got to come up here.
Oh,
Over here.
Whichever.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. So essentially what we did is the sick leave used to be based on a 16 hours, so 16 hours is considered a whole day. Now we just changed the sick leave to say 12 hours is a day. So so instead of 16 hours being a whole day, 24 hours is a whole day. So really it was just kind of like a clerical thing that we used to have. It's goofy. It didn't really match how we did our department and how we ran a 24-hour shift. Not untypical to how other fire departments do it. So really we're just cleaning up some housekeeping here and making it easier for everybody to take care of the books. So the 24 hours versus the 16 comes to that 1728 number, just to make sure it's even. But if you read earlier in that agreement, it says that the hours are the same, the payouts are the same, and everything else, and finance is going to work with us to figure that all out.
Appreciate the explanation.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Any follow-ups?
Anything else? Nope. Good.
All right.
Okay.
Right now, we are voting on the amendment, so if there's no further discussion on the amendment, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The amendment passes. So now we have the amended resolution back on the floor. Any further discussion on the resolution as amended?
No.
All right. In that case, seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. And the resolution passes as amended.
Thanks for the support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next regular meeting date for this committee will be on June 9th. And with that, we have exhausted our agenda and are looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.